Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are diving into something pretty fascinating, the link between integrity, intelligence, and energy, and how these qualities can actually help us to understand and even predict someone's success.
That's right. We're going to be exploring how these traits, alone or combined can give us real insight into a person's path, what they might achieve, and even the kinds of challenges they might run into along the way.
It's like a secret code to figuring out success almost. I'm Alex, by the way, and I am so excited to be joined today by our expert guide, Maya.
Thanks for having me.
So Maya, as I was getting ready for this deep dive, I started thinking about all the people I really admire, successful people from all walks of life, and what makes them tick.
Wow.
What do you think is the common thread? What sets them apart?
It's a great question. We often think about success in terms of achievements, but when you really look at the people who make a lasting impact, it's not just about what they accomplish, it's about how they do it. That's where these three qualities come in: integrity, intelligence, and energy.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Break it down for us. How do these three traits actually play out in different people?
Well, we came across this framework developed by Binary Baba, who's based in India. He outlines 7 distinct personality types based on different combinations of these three core qualities.
7 types. Okay, now we're talking. Let's unpack this.
Let's start with type 1, someone with high integrity but low intelligence and energy. Picture that hardworking, blue-collar worker. They show up every day, loyal, dedicated. They're the backbone of so many industries, but they might not necessarily be looking to climb the corporate ladder.
Makes total sense. Dependable, solid, but maybe not the folks who are constantly dreaming of being the CEO. What does this tell us about the relationship between these qualities and success?
It's an interesting point. It challenges our assumptions about what success looks like, doesn't it? Maybe for this person, success is about stability, about finding meaning in their work, even if it's not flashy or high profile.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I think we sometimes forget that success is a very personal thing. Okay, so that's type 1. What about type 2?
Type 2 is kind of the opposite. In a way, high intelligence, but low on the integrity and energy fronts. Think of the classic armchair critic. Brilliant mind, can analyze any situation, but they rarely take action themselves.
Oh, I know that type. All talk, no walk. It's like they can see the problems of the world, but they lack the drive or maybe even the belief that they can actually make a difference.
Exactly. And I think there's something really fascinating here from a psychological perspective. What makes someone with so much potential hold back? Is it fear of failure, lack of self-belief, or maybe they just haven't found that thing that truly ignites their passion?
Ooh, that's a question for our listeners. Have you ever felt that pull between seeing what needs to be done and actually having the energy to do it? Let us know in the comments.
All right, let's move on to type 3. High energy, but lacking both integrity and intelligence. This is where things can get a little more complicated and potentially even risky.
I'm getting a bit of a caution vibe here. What makes this type so different?
Well, think of those who are easily swayed by external incentives, maybe prone to impulsive actions. Even if those actions might not align with ethical principles, it's like their energy is driving them. But without a strong moral compass or the ability to really think things through, that energy can be misdirected, even destructive.
It's almost like a car with a powerful engine but no steering wheel. It could go really fast, but who knows where it'll end up.
That's a great analogy. And it really highlights the importance of having all three of these qualities working together. Energy, without the guidance of intelligence and integrity, can be a dangerous thing.
So far, we've seen some combinations that highlight the potential downsides of having an imbalance between these traits. What happens when we start adding integrity back into the mix? What about type 4? High integrity and intelligence, but low energy.
This is an interesting one. Think of that steady, reliable person in a 9-to-5 job. They're ethical, they're smart, but maybe they're content with a more predictable routine. They're not necessarily setting the world on fire, but they're a valuable part of any team.
The rock-solid foundation, the folks you can always count on. But do you think they ever feel like they're not reaching their full potential?
It's a possibility. I think a lot of people with this combination have a deep sense of responsibility, and they want to contribute in a meaningful way, but maybe they need a little nudge, a spark, to realize that their potential is even greater than they imagine.
Right on to type 5. What happens when someone has high integrity and energy, but not necessarily a high level of intelligence?
This is where we see a lot of those passionate, entrepreneurial spirits. They're full of drive, always hustling, willing to learn through trial and error. They might stumble along the way, but their strong sense of integrity helps them course correct and stay true to their values.
It's like they have that inner compass that guides them, even when things get tough. Do you think this type is more likely to achieve what we traditionally think of as success? Building businesses, making a big impact.
I think they have the potential, absolutely. But it's important to remember that success isn't just about the outcome, it's about the journey. And for this type, the journey is often about learning, adapting, and growing along the way.
I love that perspective. Okay, let's tackle type 6. High intelligence and energy, but low integrity. What happens when you have that combination?
This is where things can get tricky, and even a little bit dangerous. This type is often very successful in a material sense. They know how to work the system, they're driven, and they're not afraid to take risks. But because their actions aren't guided by a strong moral compass, they can end up cutting corners, manipulating others, and leaving a trail of damage in their wake.
It's like they're playing a game and they're determined to win no matter the costs.
Yeah.
I'm getting some major corporate villain vibes here.
You hit the nail on the head. And I think this type highlights why integrity is so crucial, even more so than intelligence or energy. Without integrity, those other two qualities can actually become weapons that are used to exploit others and cause harm.
So integrity is the key ingredient. Okay, I'm ready for type 7. This must be where it all comes together, right?
Exactly. Type 7 is the trifecta. High integrity, high intelligence, and high energy. This is the sweet spot, the combination that sets the stage for lasting, meaningful success.
This is like the superhero of personality types, right? They've got the brains, the brawn, and the moral compass to really make a difference.
Exactly. They're not just achieving their own goals. They're lifting others up along the way. Think of leaders who inspire us, innovators who change the world for the better. They often embody this combination of qualities.
This framework is so insightful. It's making me think about all the people in my life and where they might fit in. But I'm curious, what about you, Maya? Which type do you think you resonate with most?
That's a great question. I'm still figuring it out myself. It's like holding a mirror up and really examining who you are, what drives you, and what kind of impact you want to have on the world. It's a journey, not a destination.
I love that. It's not about fitting ourselves into a box, but rather using this framework as a tool for self-discovery and growth.
Absolutely. And I think it's important to remember that we're not fixed in one type forever. We can always evolve and grow, and that's what makes this conversation so exciting.
Speaking of different perspectives, I know we wanted to talk about Naval Ravikant's thoughts on this. He emphasizes these same three qualities when it comes to choosing partners, right?
He does. And his reasoning is so compelling. He argues that intelligence is essential for direction, energy is needed for action, and integrity is the foundation for trust. Without trust, everything else crumbles. You can't build a strong relationship, a successful business, or a thriving community without that bedrock of trust.
He has a point.
Yeah.
Who wants to work with someone they can't rely on? It's like building a house on sand. It's just not going to last.
Exactly. And Ravikant really brings this to life with a story about an entrepreneur he knows. This guy's company failed, but instead of taking the easy way out, he went above and beyond to protect his investors' interests. He could have easily walked away, but his integrity wouldn't let him.
Wow. That's putting your money where your mouth is when it comes to integrity. It's not just about talking the talk, it's about walking the walk, especially when things get tough.
Right. And for him, it wasn't even about being a good guy or trying to impress anyone. It was about maintaining his own self-esteem, knowing that he did the right thing even when it was hard. That's what true integrity looks like.
This whole conversation is really making me think about that famous Warren Buffett quote. In looking for people to hire, you look for three qualities: integrity, intelligence, and energy. And if they don't have the first, the other two will kill you.
That quote is so powerful, isn't it? It cuts right to the heart of the matter. Intelligence and energy can be incredible forces for good, but without integrity, they can be misused, leading to all sorts of problems. Ethical lapses, bad decisions, even disastrous consequences.
It sounds like integrity is the real linchpin here. It's the non-negotiable ingredient for achieving true success, the kind that benefits not just ourselves, but the world around us.
I couldn't agree more. And what's so fascinating about integrity is that it's not something you're born with. It's a choice we make every single day.
So it's not about being perfect. It's about constantly striving to align our actions with our values.
Exactly. And sometimes that means making tough choices, speaking up when something isn't right, or doing the right thing even when it's not the easy thing. But that's how we build that muscle of integrity. And it's a muscle worth strengthening.
So true. As we're talking, I can't help but think about those 7 personality types we discussed earlier. I'm curious, for our listeners out there, which type resonates with you the most? Take a moment and really think about it. What are your strongest qualities? Where do you see room for growth?
I think that's a great question to reflect on. And if you're willing to share, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. It's all about self-awareness, isn't it?
Yeah.
Understanding our strengths and weaknesses and then using that knowledge to become the best versions of
Oh,
ourselves.
totally. It's like we're all on this journey of figuring out who we are and what we're meant to do in the world. And these qualities, integrity, intelligence, energy, they're like the tools that help us navigate that journey.
I love that analogy. And just like any tools, they need to be sharpened, refined, and used in the right way.
So true. Okay, so we've talked a lot about these individual traits and how they play out in different personality types. But I want to zoom out a bit and talk about the bigger picture. Why are these qualities so important for success? And I'm not just talking about individual success, but success in a broader sense, building strong relationships, creating a positive change, making a meaningful impact on the world.
That's a really important question, and I think it gets to the heart of what we're talking about here. When we talk about success, we often focus on those external markers, wealth, status, achievements. But true success, the kind that brings lasting fulfillment and has a ripple effect beyond ourselves, is rooted in something much deeper.
I'm all ears. Tell me more.
Well, think about it. When you encounter someone with integrity, you instinctively trust them. You know they're going to do what they say they'll do, that they'll be honest and fair, that they'll act in accordance with their values even when no one's watching. That kind of trust is the foundation of any strong relationship, whether it's a personal relationship, a business partnership, or even the relationship between a leader and their followers.
It's like that saying, trust takes years to build, seconds to break, and forever to repair.
Exactly. And when you have trust, you can build so much on top of that foundation. Collaboration, innovation, mutual support. Integrity creates an environment where people feel safe to take risks, to be vulnerable, to share ideas. It's like fertile ground for growth and progress.
I'm starting to see how this all ties together. Integrity is like the bedrock, the foundation upon which everything else is built. But what about intelligence and energy? How do those fit into the equation?
Well, intelligence is what gives us the ability to see the world clearly, to understand complex issues, to make sound judgments. It's the ability to learn, to adapt, to solve problems. And energy is what fuels our actions. It's the drive, the passion, the perseverance that allows us to turn our ideas into reality.
So we need all 3. Integrity to guide our actions, intelligence to inform our decisions, and energy to make it all happen. It's like a 3-legged stool. If one leg is missing, the whole thing collapses.
That's a perfect way to put it. And I think it's important to remember that these qualities aren't static. They can be cultivated, strengthened, and refined over time.
So we're not stuck with whatever hand we're dealt. We can actually become more integrous, more intelligent, more energetic.
Absolutely. It's a lifelong journey of growth and self-improvement. And the beautiful thing is, the more we develop these qualities, the more we attract people with similar values and aspirations. It's like a virtuous cycle. Integrity breeds trust, trust fosters collaboration, and collaboration leads to even greater success.
It's like that idea that your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yeah.
If you're putting out positive energy and acting with integrity, you're more likely to attract people who are on the same wavelength.
Exactly. And that's how we create real, lasting change in the world. It starts with each of us making a conscious effort to cultivate these qualities within ourselves.
As we're talking, I'm thinking about all the challenges we face as a society. Climate change, social injustice, political polarization. These are complex issues that require innovative solutions and collective action. And it seems like these qualities, integrity, intelligence, energy, are more important than ever.
I couldn't agree more. We need leaders who are not only intelligent and capable, but also driven by a deep sense of purpose and a commitment to ethical action. We need innovators who are willing to think outside the box, to challenge the status quo, and to create solutions that benefit everyone, not just a select few.
And we need everyday citizens who are engaged, informed, and willing to hold our leaders accountable. It's about each of us stepping up and saying, I want to make a difference. I want to contribute to a better world.
Yes, and I think that's what's so empowering about this conversation. It reminds us that we all have a role to play, that we all have the potential to make a positive impact. It starts with cultivating these qualities within ourselves and then using them to create a ripple effect of positive change in the world around us.
This has been such an inspiring conversation, Maya. I feel like I have a whole new framework for thinking about success and how I can use my own strengths to make a difference.
I'm so glad to hear that, and I hope our listeners are feeling the same way.
Before we wrap up, I wanted to circle back to something you mentioned earlier about these qualities not being fixed. What are some practical things we can do to cultivate more integrity, intelligence, and energy in our daily lives? I know our listeners would love to hear some concrete tips.
That's a great question, and it's one that deserves a deep dive of its own. But I think a good starting point is simply being more mindful of our choices. Every decision we make, no matter how small, is an opportunity to practice integrity, to exercise our intelligence, and to channel our energy in a positive direction.
So even something as simple as choosing not to gossip about a coworker or being honest about a mistake we made.
Exactly. Those seemingly small choices add up over time. They help us build that muscle of integrity, flex our intellectual curiosity, and cultivate a more positive and energetic mindset.
And like any muscle, it gets stronger the more we use it.
That's a great analogy, and it's important to remember that we're all works in progress. None of us are perfect. We're all going to make mistakes. The key is to learn from those mistakes and keep striving to align our actions with our values.
It's about progress, not perfection. I love that. Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, folks, we've covered a lot of ground today. From Binary Baba's 7 personality types, to Naval Ravikant's wisdom on choosing partners, to Warren Buffett's famous quote, it's clear that integrity is the cornerstone of true success.
And remember, cultivating integrity is a journey, not a destination. It's a choice we make every day to live in alignment with our values and to strive to be the best versions of ourselves.
And who knows, maybe by embracing integrity, we can all create a ripple effect of positive change in the world. That's a pretty amazing thought, right?
Absolutely. A ripple effect of integrity. What a powerful force that would be.
On that inspiring note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive. We've explored some fascinating ideas today, and I hope you found it as insightful and thought-provoking as I have.
Me too. It's been such a pleasure diving into these ideas with you and our listeners.
Before we go, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Which personality type resonated with you most? What are some ways you practice integrity in your own life? Share your insights in the comments below. We always love hearing from you.
And of course, if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the deep dive for more fascinating explorations into the ideas that shape our world.
And be sure to tap that bell icon so you don't miss out on any future episodes.
We have some amazing deep dives lined up covering everything from the future of work to the mysteries of the cosmos.
We can't wait to share them with you. A huge thank you to Maya for joining us today and sharing her expertise. This has been an incredible conversation.
It's been a pleasure being here.
Until next time, keep diving deep, folks.